And touchdown.
Yes, those are the words that every astronaut loves to hear. Touchdown. Oh, and look at Lady Funk coming out there. One of the oldest person to fly in space. She finally got what was coming to her. That was Jeff Bezos and his 3 crew members. They landed back on Earth after that historic trip to the edge of space. On board for the ride, Bezos' brother. And plus, as I mentioned, the oldest and the youngest people to ever fly in space. Michael Strahan spoke to the Bezos brothers after this morning's successful launch. Here it is.
Tell me, you fulfilled a lifelong dream.
Yeah.
You went to space.
Yeah.
So how did it feel? This is a big day for Blue Origin.
Greatest day ever. Amazing. I mean, speechless in a way. I don't have the talent to put into words what we just experienced. Maybe we need to send a poet up some point or something, but it was incredible.
It was really amazing. It was, the views were breathtaking. I've never seen anything so beautiful.
And I know yesterday you said, when we talked yesterday, you said, I'm curious about how it's going to change me.
Yeah.
And I know you just got back,
yeah.
But any initial thoughts?
My initial thought is, I can't believe, even though I've heard it and read it, I can't believe how tiny the Earth's atmosphere is. So when we're standing down here, it looks huge. You know, we're surrounded by Earth's atmosphere. We're breathing it all the time, and it's sustaining all the life on this planet. When you get up there, you see that it's this tiny, thin little thing. And it makes you realize just how precious it is and how fragile it is and how much we need to take care of it.
And so describe it to me. I know what we saw here on the ground, and you just disappeared. So describe.
Tell them about the acceleration part.
Yeah, the acceleration, the G-forces on the way up. It was surprising to me. I mean, we had been briefed on it, but it's something else entirely to actually feel your skin get pulled back and get pushed into the chair. And so it was, we had about 3 Gs on the way up. On the way down, it got up to about 5 Gs, and unfortunately, it was right in the middle of the 5 Gs when we did a status check with
check.
Yeah, and she, I got the astronaut demo. How you doing? I was like. I'm sure I don't look too good on camera saying that, but it was.
And then the other thing that we observed, and we both observed this, and we talked about it in the car on the way back. When you get up into 0 G, it feels natural, which is really weird because you've never really experienced it. But you're floating, and it's calm and serene, and it feels almost like we were evolved to be in 0 G. I know that's impossible, but that's what it feels like. It feels almost like you've come home.
It almost sounds like it exceeded expectations.
Oh, and by the way, my expectations were high, and it lapped over them.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
And I know, Mark, you told me yesterday, me and my brother, we've had great adventures. How does this match up?
This one's going to be tough to beat. I look forward to trying, but this one's going to be pretty tough to beat.
That's right. We'll set it as a new bar.
It was really special, and I'm just so honored to be a part of it. So happy to be able to represent, my mom and dad, and my sister, celebrate a lifelong dream of Jeff's come true.
Yeah, and it must feel good because your brother, he's worked so hard at this, and to see his lifelong dream come true and be a part of it. I mean, you already had an incredible bond.
It's true.
Really
that's
makes
true.
it so much better.
That's true. And by the way, my brother has been part of the Blue Origin program from the very beginning. He's been a huge contributor. He's been a huge contributor to everything I've done in my life, and I couldn't have had a better partner for this flight. Thank you, brother.
Well, family love there. Thanks to the Bezos brothers and Michael Strahan for that interview.
And for more on the historic launch, let's bring in former NASA astronaut and ABC News contributor Katie Coleman, author of Amazon Unbound, Jeff Bezos and the Invention of a Global Empire, Brad Stone, and ABC News transportation correspondent Gio Benitez, who is there in Texas, witnessed the takeoff and landing today. Thank you all for being here. Gio, I want to start with you. You were there today. What was it like to witness this launch?
Oh, Diane, listen, it was just incredible to see this because this was the first time where you were able to actually witness right there behind us, just 3 miles away, both the takeoff and the landing at the same time with humans on board, right? That is not something that we typically see when we're watching a SpaceX launch that's sending folks to the International Space Station. These launches with SpaceX, for example, that rocket lands on the water, on a drone ship, as they call it. So it's very far away. say, here, when that rocket landed here, you really heard that sonic boom. And that was just incredible. But there was also this really emotional story with 82-year-old Wally Funk. And you were just thinking about her the whole time as you were watching this rocket go up. And in fact, I want to show you this because they are giving these shirts out here. Fly, Wally, fly. And I know that Katie Coleman is probably Wally's biggest fan. And don't worry, Katie, we got you one too. Fly, Wally, fly.
And that's exactly, Gio, it's like you knew where I wanted to go, because I wanted to say to Katie, okay, woman to women here, how fantastic, Katie, was it to see Lady Funk finally get to go to space? You know, what did that mean to you, considering, you know, you had a chance to go there, and she was dealing with discrimination of the times, and she got to do it.
Well, you know, I say that it's. I mean, when Jeff announced that she was going to be his guest for the launch, I cried. I mean, it means everything to so many, you know, who are women in aviation. And we look back, you know, and you think, well, that was the 60s. Could it be like that now? But there are still enough, you know, ways that we don't see what each other brings to the table, especially if you look different than many of the people in the room. And so it's still a great lesson in the fact that Wally gets to fly on this mission, and that especially that, I mean, a person, candidly, that probably never faced you know, a no because of his gender or the color of his skin, for that person to invite Wally, it really says, you know, you matter. What you did matters. And that means that everyone after you matters too. So it was awesome. And she's so much fun to watch. And I loved doing it.
Brad, going into this, Jeff Bezos said he wasn't nervous about the flight, but his family, he says they were anxious. So how risky was this flight?
Yeah, I thought I detected a little bit of emotion when Bezos's mother, Jackie, greeted Jeff and his brother Mark when they got off the capsule. I'm sure she was incredibly nervous. You know, how risky was it? I mean, you know, the wealthiest person in the world was strapping himself to a bomb, basically. And look, I mean, he was obviously completely confident. The New Shepard spacecraft has gone through 15 launches. They lost a booster rocket about 5 years ago. They lost a test rocket about 10 years ago, but 15 successful launches since then. So he was confident, but it's you know, it's rocketry, and there's always unknown. So he was really just expressing his confidence in New Shepard today and in the team at Blue Origin. I thought it was pretty extraordinary that he chose to go first.
Okay, something else is extraordinary. Gio, you got to cover Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic launch as well. So you got to tell us, what stands out when you compare the two? I know this has probably got to be pretty tough.
Well, you know what, Kira? I mean, they're so different, because with this launch, you're talking about a rocket that is going upright, and it is a traditional launch, right? When you think about all of the Apollo missions, it was a big rocket with a capsule above it. That's what this was. So it was sticking to that same traditional machinery. When you're looking at the Richard Branson launch, you're talking about an airplane that takes off, goes to about 50,000 feet, drops the capsule, right, or the rocket ship in that. They also call it a space plane. And then that rocket, you know, sort of turns on right away, and they take that to the edge of the atmosphere. So it was a very different kind of launch, because you're seeing this happen in midair, and in this one, you are seeing it in the ground. You definitely feel this one more. If you're watching it in person, you feel this one more, because the ground shakes, your organs shake, you hear that loud sound as that rocket goes up. The other interesting thing is that when you're talking about this launch, this Blue Origin launch, this is a vehicle that was completely autonomous, no pilot on board. This was run by a computer, essentially. They start with mission control controlling it, and then a computer takes over at a certain point. But everything is just completely autonomous. Virgin Galactic has pilots on board. So there are definitely some differences, but it's going to be interesting to see once we find out exactly how much it costs to get on the Blue Origin and see how they compete with each other. Because we know Richard Branson right now, Virgin Galactic, they're charging $250,000 per seat. We'll see what Blue Origin is charging.
Now, Katie, as an astronaut, when you do a mission like this on a more official level, there's specific work to be done. There are discoveries that are laid out specifically, scientific goals with each flight. And there are already lawmakers in Washington that have come out criticizing this flight, essentially saying that, this is just a rich people being tourists and not accomplishing the kind of scientific benefits that we've seen with other trips to space. Now, you've taken issue with the phrase space tourism, so I'm curious if you could expand upon why, A, you take issue with the term, and also what you think the future benefits can be of civilians getting a chance to experience space travel.
Well, on a NASA mission, basically anything creative that you saw from me or any of my colleagues, probably happened after 10 o'clock at night or before you were supposed to be awake in the morning or your bathroom time. It's really, there's a mission and that personal part is kind of separate. And it doesn't mean it's discouraged. It's just that there's not quite room. And yet there's something really so compelling about space. It's something that grabs all of us. We're all here on this broadcast, right? And I think it's such a very human thing. And so to be able to have flights where more people, and a diverse group of people get to go up in space, that's where we really get to, I think, expand the range of humanity. And the way I look at this whole situation is, we talk about the three different gentlemen, billionaires. You can talk about that, but I see that it's three people with vision and resources, and they each have different ways of achieving their visions, and yet all of them are bringing people to space. And when people come back from that, now this is just eight people in the last, 4 today, and then 4 a couple of weeks ago with Virgin Galactic. Those people are changed forever. They have a different horizon. And can you imagine being Oliver Damon, who's 18? He's going to go through his whole life with a different horizon and different point of view. And so I just think that there's a lot of ripples from these kinds of flights. I think it's very appropriate that the government does, the sort of more risk-taking, going further, trying to figure out how to do things, take risks that we shouldn't ask people to take. And yet the commercial companies bring so much to this equation. And I see the world of space just exploding, and in terms of bringing lots of different people and their ideas. They're all coming back to Earth, and all those ideas are too.
All right, Gio Benitez, Katie Coleman, Brad Stone, thank you all. We appreciate the analysis.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.